modified by using this document object. Now let me show you what this document is. Okay, as you can see, the URL that we have used is about blank, right? Everyone can see this URL object, right? URL property of document. Then we have an active element called body. We have anchors, which is an HTML collection, which will later go. But everyone can see this children. Then we can see current script. Then we can see default view. What is the default view? What is the doc type? What are the domains? Then, okay, now if I refresh it, now and I write document, you get a document object, right? Now, what this document is, so whatever HTML, as you can see, the source code, whatever is been rendered in the UI is actually the document object itself. A document has a lot many properties. For example, I have document.location, document.constructor. See, can you see the scroll? It goes like we have a lot many properties that we can work on with this document object. Like we have cookies, we have link color, lot many. Everyone understand, right, guys, right? This, what is document? Document is generally this HTML, whatever we are seeing is actually viewed as document, and we can change it, we can modify it using this document object, which is available to us. So when mostly you can see that in websites, what happens, the URL changes. Let's say we are going to, let's say, google.com. Let's say W3 schools, right? Let's go to W3 schools. We have this, color changing up. When I click on exercises, we go to HTML exercises, URL changes, right? All this manipulation, it's being handled by JavaScript, right? So all this facilitation or whatever we are able to modify and do things, it's all because of JavaScript. Like primarily because of JavaScript. Browser has some core functionalities as well, apart from JavaScript, but yes, primary JavaScript. I hope everyone understands this, right? So, document object. Yes, the UI, like whatever UI being seen is actually document. All the other, for example, we can access this, access this URL object, whatever, we can go back. Sorry. Yes, these are presently. So the window object. So a tab actually represents the window. A window has the document, the UI part, like whatever we are seeing. It can be manipulated using JavaScript. Hope that makes sense. Moving quickly. Okay, there was some doubt for someone about the 100% HTML. Please remind me to walk through before the closing session, like before I close the session. I'll do that later, but since we have started, let's keep it that way. Okay, so we have this window, we have DOM, we have JavaScript. Then we have BOM, like what are BOM, whatever screen you are seeing, right? The back, the front, like we can go back, we can come forward, right? We can refresh it. All this manipulation, like buttons that are facilitated, right? These are actually BOM, which is browser object model. Let's not go into that. I hope everyone is clear about what document object is, how we can use document object, to manipulate HTML. So let me quickly show you. Document.child. Child element, children, okay. Children.len. Now, what does this? Let me just quickly grab you the small examples. So we have document.children. So as you can see in the UI, even in here, body has like one division element, right? So document children.length is actually saying this division, right? So we have, since one division, it's saying length. Let me add quickly another division and check what how things change, okay? Just let me quickly do that for you. Okay. And then dot children. Okay, have I not had it? Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry, it got rendered. But yeah, it did not get rendered. Edit ho gaya tha, but yeah, I'll quickly show you that. Let's not move around that. that will get updated. We will work on it. Since it's re-rendering, that's why it's causing issues. But yeah, moving on. Let me show you how actually it happens, right? Okay, so whatever we are seeing in right hand side, let me. Is it visible, guys? Is it right, like proper, as we can see? And does the window object must be installed within the browser? Yes. It's it's embedded inside it, so it's like it's packed with the window object. Like the JavaScript engine provides us with environment which we use, right? There it facilitates and gives us this window object which we can use to manipulate window and document everything. Makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Guys, the screen is visible, right? The zoom is perfect. Good. Okay. Now moving on. Now whatever we can see, you have already worked in HTML files, right? In index.html, we have this beautifully formatted like HTML tags, which shows inside HTML, we have a division element which shows welcome to session. Now how to add JavaScript? We can add JavaScript inside an HTML file. Now how we can do that? Now, HTML has a script tag for adding JavaScript to our web page document. The script tag can be actually inserted inside our HTML file in 3 different positions. One is the head, second is the body, third is the, adding, like writing all this JavaScript code inside an external file and linking that external file inside that HTML. We will walk through 3 of this, but I hope it makes sense for you, right? Able to visualize. Let me quickly go do that for you. So what we can do, I said, we can write JavaScript. Okay, we can write script. Let me console log. Okay. My shortcuts are messed up. Switching. I should not do this. Can you go on mute, please? Okay. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No, ma'am.
You have to save the file.
Yeah, save the file.
Yeah. That's the best. Thanks for your I'll save that. Now is Mr. Yes. Yeah, we are good to go. Save the file. Yes. Thanks. Okay. As I mentioned, the script can be mentioned like in 3 ways, right? In the head, body, and an external file. Head, we have just seen it. Let me quickly do that. The body part to show you. I hope everyone is doing simultaneously, at least not this part. You will be coding, but if it will really come handy if you do it with me as well. So hello. Cool. Everyone up until now understand, right? How to add that inside? Okay, how to externally add that? Let me quickly index.js. This is how, like, let's first create index.js, a JavaScript file where we will write a simple statement that hello from external source, hello from external. Right. And yeah, sorry. It will be the relative part. With the file, right? What is this file name? Index.js. Yeah. Okay. Everyone got up until now how we can add it? Yes, the script. Yeah, sorry for that. I hope everyone, +1 in the chat, everyone got how to link, JavaScript into your HTML file 3 ways. Everyone got up until now? Great. Moving on, we have a small exercise for you guys. Let me show you my screen. Create a script inside the body and write a function in it. Now this function should print like console log, page loaded on the console. Page loaded, right? You need to call this function because you like only writing the function won't help, right? It needs to be called. So call that function in the script tag. If the message is displayed in the console, it means JavaScript is working, right? So quickly, guys, I'll give you 2 minutes to do this. This is a very simple exercise. Onto your console, guys. Paste your code in the chat window when you are done. And since we have lot many +1, let me create a divider. Okay. Create a divider. Whatever comes next will be like you have completed the exercise, completed this activity 1. Onto your console. Hey, that's great. That's quite fast, Shubhrini. Could you paste your code as well? Hey, great, Biscuitry. It's working for you, right? Yes. Paste in your code. Biscuitry. So once we're done, paste in your code in the chat room. Okay. I mean the JavaScript, not the entire HTML file. Who did this? Please. Yeah. No worries. Wait. Yeah, but I'm saying write a function, right? So you are almost right, but try to create a function. Inside that function, in it, write page loaded, then call the function and show. Is that clear? Everyone did that. No, I am saying create a function, guys. You're not creating a, like, yes, that will work as well. That's very simple. But the activity is about creating a function so that, the function part, like how to declare one and basic thing, you get reminded. Yes. Please read the exercise. Guys, the pace is right. Like, I'm not hurrying you. Is it fine? Like, yes, in the chat, if the pace is fine and you're feeling comfortable with my learning speed. Let me know if you want me to slow down. I feel these are very simple concept and you are almost familiar. Like, these are basic thing. I guess, and later in the session, when actual things come up, I'll try to slow. Exactly. That's great. Right? Everyone did it? No. Great. Exactly. Moving on. Let me do that. It's fine. Okay. So what I do is everyone got it. Great. Mohit, please tell the code. Yeah. That's right. It was in it, right? Fun. Yeah, it's okay. That's fun. Let's move on to our next topic. Okay. That's fine. So earlier you saw me quite fuzzing about like document object, right? So what document is and what document object model is. Now, a document represents any web page or the HTML document loaded inside the browser window. Now, when you saw me, I wrote document in the console and an object popped out, right? Sorry, not object popped out. We saw that HTML code, like whatever was rendered in the UI when I wrote document, it popped. So the document is actually a representation of the web page. The HTML document is actually the document. Now, through JavaScript, through document object, we can manipulate or do stuff so that whatever is rendered or the HTML document that is rendered. Right? We have like HTML, for example, in this HTML, you can see we have HTML head has a like below head we have body, and when we will write, when we will access this document, this entire HTML document will also be called as the document. I hope that makes sense. Lots of document, but I hope it makes sense. Now this document object is a part of global window. Now when earlier you saw me, right, when I wrote window. Now, window is the global object, right? You can see the global, right? So when the window object has a property called document. Now, since window is the global object, we don't need to always write window.document in order to access document. We can directly write document. For example, if you see any other property, let's say alert. Alert is a function. Let me call out device sexual ratio. Okay, I can directly get it without You know, see. Because window is the global object, we can access all the properties window object provides us by directly accessing the property. We don't need to write window dot device. It will work, but then it's similar to direct writing device or pixel ratio, right? That's why I wanted to tell. According to the document object model, every HTML tag is an object. Okay, let me show you where that all go. Okay. Cool. We had a session, right? Okay. Okay. According to the document object model, every HTML tag is an object. Now we had, let me switch to document dot body. Now our document had a body, right? Apart from document, what else can be there in a window? Yes, I'll come on to that later, Bharat, but let me complete. So we had document.body, right? And then you see, we can fetch whatever is there in the document. This is showing some essential values because it was inscribed, but yeah, let me quickly go to that blank. And when I write document.body, it will show us the body tag. Two division. One actually had hello, which got removed somehow, but and you, right? So we have two divisions which are a part of body. And how did I access this body? Did I just did I go to the, HTML part, show you body? No, I just used document dot body and it showed me the body. And this is HTML tag, right? So every HTML tag is actually an object inside JavaScript. That is essentially what I'm trying to say. And this slide also says that. Nested tags are children. So, okay, what we have, let me show you document dot body dot children dot body. Now, can anyone say that why it's showing two? And what does this document.body.children.length actually signify? Everyone can write in the chat window. Great. It's essentially actually saying document.ready. So document.ready, I guess it was in query, jQuery. And similarly, we had like window.load function. Once the content is being loaded, I'm not sure. I'm forgetting the direct access of this load and ready, but essentially they do the same. Once the DOM object is being created, right? It would once everything is rendered inside the DOM, then anything we want to, let's say we are rendering an image and we want to access the properties of the image, let's say what size or etc. So once that image is actually being rendered, we can access that image object. Image tag can essentially be an object, right? We saw that every HTML tag is actually an object inside JavaScript. We can access this image once it's loaded. I'm saying is the one use case of document.ready. If that makes sense. It's essentially on this. See, on road, Image will have properties if it's object. Exactly, it will have properties. Basically, it might have some class, it might have some ID. We can get that ID from that image, image tag. That you will be seeing later in the session itself. But I hope it makes sense, guys. This document might have multiple tags, right? Body tag, division tag. Some division tag might have classes, some IDs. These tags can actually represent an object in JavaScript, and we can access that object, which we will see later. For example, Let me show you instead of showcase actually. Now I want to say document dot get element by ID. What is that ID? Is that my ID, right? Let me console. This is something. Yeah, this is something. Yes. Can you guys see? We are getting like what did I do? I just created a simple division which has an ID inside it, right? And that ID I called my ID. Now, earlier I told you in Java, HTML has multiple tags. We can fetch like particular, we can access, we can manipulate, we can do manipulation to some tags, right? Let's say this division, I want to change it. I want to change the background color. I want to add some class. I want to do something. I can fetch this proper, this HTML tag, which I kind of did by accessing document.get. I'll tell you what get element by ID does. I hope it's clear. You can see that. Got which is like division. It has an ID, my ID, and it's getting console logged, right? So what? Moving on, what we get from document.get element by ID. So it will check the entire document. It will fetch the whatever tag is there which has the ID, my ID. It essentially did exact thing. It checked the document, checked which HTML element had ID as my ID, and fetched it and console logged. I hope that makes sense. Yes. How can we add order? Vaguely speaking, we can add classes. We can add, we can add many things. I'll show you later in this session, or mostly next session, that how we can, manipulate on it. But up until now, is everything clear, guys? +1 in the chat if it does. Or you want me to repeat? I can do that. Yes, you can add classes. Let's say you can add that particular style inside a class. Then you can dynamically add that class inside that element, like which we'll see later. But yes, that's how you can do, add border. You just need to mention that what style you want to add to a particular division element. That class will have all those properties like adding border, let's say having some background color. Then you add that class to that HTML element, and voila, you will see the changes. Okay, yeah, sure. Let me quickly repeat you. What I did, I created a division inside this body tag. I had this division ID, which is called my ID. Now I wanted to show you how I can access this entire division inside JavaScript environment. So inside index.js, I can access document, as you could see. There is a method called as get element by ID. Now what get element by ID does? It returns a reference to the first object with the specified value of the ID of main attribute. Now this body or the entire document had one division element which has ID my ID. So it fetched me that division element, mentioning whatever I have passed. I have passed my ID and it has my ID as ID, right? So it returned me the entire division, as you can see in the console, division ID. This is something. Yash, is it okay? You get it? Cool. Moving on. Okay, here's a quick activity for you guys. I got luckily +1, so I hope everyone does this. And it's very interesting to see the answer as well. So this is Curious Cat question. Okay, now you know that what are the different positions where we can access, like where you can write script, right? In the head, in the body, and from an XML file which can be linked in the bottom of the body as well. Now what you need to do, you need to console log document.body from a script inside a head and inside a body. See the difference and tell me why is it so. Make sense question? Like the question makes sense, right? So what you need to do inside that HTML file, in the above section, like in the head, create a script, write something, like try to console log document.body inside the head script. Below the body, like below script, which is inside the body, console log document.body, and tell me what's the difference and why is it. I'll give you quick, I don't know, I'll give you, I can't know. Screen time. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes time. Cool. Let me quickly give you the question. What is that question? This is the question. This is the time. Yes. Head will be executed. So head will be executed in body. But yes, that makes sense. But why does it show, null? And like earlier and later, it shows, all this, like proper answer. What I may say. For people, I don't want to reveal the answer, but can anyone? Can I use my? Yeah, sure. This is it. Go on.
Hello everyone.
Hi. This is it.
The reason may be like the head tag actually not seeing the body tag because it's actually followed by body, right? So
Yeah.
maybe one of the reasons that's why it's showing null. And about the body tag, it's obviously it's in body, it's in the script tag inside the body, so it's obviously show the body element.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah. There's a more detailed explanation which I'll tell you once this 30-second timer sticks up. Document. Static template and the same script console body. Yes, that is exactly what I was saying. You need to check this way. Yes, Ashwin plus yes. Did you find any difference? Okay. Cool. You're done. What actually happens? I hope everyone did it. Last one in the chat if you tried. Great. So what happens when actually this HTML is getting rendered inside the browser? DOM tree is kind of new. Now, what is a DOM tree? I'll visually show you guys. But what happens when we try to access the body which has not been yet loaded inside the browser? Now, it's not loaded and it's tried to access something. That's why it shows us none. But in the later part of that script, it traverses them from top to bottom, right? So in later part, it has already rendered the body. And after the body is been rendered, it's accessing the body, which is already present in the browser, right? There we actually see, the content of the body instead of null, because up until the very first step, the body has not been rendered in the browser. But later, when it's accessed inside the body, right? Like in the later part of the body, we are getting like the body part is already being rendered. That's why we see the HTML. Cool. Make sense, guys? Yeah. Looking quickly through the version because I want to understand if it's yes. Plus one in the chat, it makes sense. I'll show you a very good thing what I did, which we have just to visualize what it is. Plus one, guys. I hope it makes sense. Where did I go? Okay. There's something wrong with this. Okay, can anyone see? So as you can see, I have written this HTML below, which has essentially, okay, I have mentioned body inside head, which should be okay. It has this word thing. Okay. Give me a second. Let me do it. Okay. I'll say you what text means, but can you guys visualize it? So we have an inverted tree-like structure where we have this parent called HTML. It has two child, head and body. Head has, let's ignore the text for now. I'll see why this text are coming. But as you can see, the body has another division. Division has another text. So does this kind of, can you guys able to relate to how this HTML and this DOM tree is actually is? So as you can see inside HTML, we have two tags, head and body, which are kind of children to the HTML, right? And inside body, we have division, as you can see inside body. So division gets is the children of the body, and yeah. And this hello, which is actually the green text, is shown. This yellow text are actually this white spaces that we are getting created. So for now, you can ignore that. But I hope it makes sense, right? This inverted tree structure and how it's this is called as DOM tree. If you can. Give me a second, guys. Come on. Okay. I hope it makes sense, right? Someone asked me, we started rendering the body first now. How did you run? I couldn't understand your question. Did not you get when I tried to explain that why the body is showing null? I hope it got clear or not. So I just tried rendering the body first now. Okay, what happens, when actually this console log actually gets rendering, right? So it might get rendered before it actually prints. So this might be some millisecond difference because of which it has already rendered and the execution time for that console log. That's why you are getting, sometimes you will see null, sometimes you will get the actual body. So this millisecond difference because of how it's getting rendered and the execution of that console log. Make sense? Yeah, sometimes you might find because on a vague level, it's if I would say that it's accessing something like the execution will take some millisecond, like microsecond or millisecond, let's say, and it's getting rendered. The time difference might be a little short, and for some that instance, you got act like the body was already rendered inside the browser. That's why you got the show. You could see the entire body just before you have accessed it in the head itself. Hopefully, it makes sense. It should. I hope there's some saving issue. I don't think it should not because you have console log 210, right? But yeah, we'll check that if what's causing the issue. But this inverted tree structure, hope that makes sense, guys. Did everyone visualize like how this inverted tree is very similar? Like how whenever we have an HTML file, we have like multiple tags, and when it gets rendered inside browser, something like this inverted tree actually gets created. Like at a how would I say, at a conceptual level, but something different happens. But if you could visualize something, it would be in this format. I hope it makes sense. +1 in the chat if you understand how this HTML gets converted to this tree and how HTML has two tags like children, head, and body. Body has one division. Division has a text, which is a leaf node. +1 in the chat. Yeah. Any doubts, guys? Up until now. Shall I move on? We have like 8:30, right? Yes. Okay. I guess it's gonna take some time. Okay. Quick note on the text and comments. So I have actually omitted the comment. The text inside elements from text nodes label as text, right? So as you could see, this text, like the hello is a leaf node, and which is a text. It's actually a leaf node. That's what it says. A text node contains only a string. It may not have children, and is always a leaf node of the tree. Now, what leaf node is? It's like that's where the tree ends. You won't find any children to a leaf node. It's basically the stopping point for that current branch. I hope it makes sense. Text yellow. Yeah, this text yellow is actually because of these white spaces, which is actually taken into consideration. Like there's some issue. There's some issue with this editor. That's why I could not cancel out. But if you could, cancel out all these white spaces. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, I can see it. So where did we have that? Yes. Another. Let me try something explicit. Can you see it? See, I removed all the white spaces and all the text, yellow text are gone. No, if it's a text element, it's the child element. You can't have, you can't have children to a text. Makes sense. Great. Okay, yeah, we can have another comment. So the editor is causing issue. Let me check if I can add a comment. So copy paste that. Yes. Can you see another node getting added? So comment is actually what it's trying to say. Comment is another leaf node which is created by this. Yeah. So when I added a comment, which is like direct child of HTML, right? Another node got created. It's also a leaf node because you can't have another division inside a comment, if you may say. That's right. Yeah, Bisujit, go on with your question. Your head is showing leaf node. Where?
No, ma'am. Why there is a node for command? Because it's used as icon. I mean, it's used as, right?
Because you can't have a child node, right? Like these are like, you can't have, you know, this can not have a division inside it. This get wrapped around a division, right? So that's why it's a child node. You can't have children to it. So it's particularly called as leaf node.
No, ma'am. My question is, why the comments is actually act as a node? I mean, it's useless in the code. So why rendering the code?
It actually, you know, it's more of a how JavaScript environment does that. If you see, have you seen any compressed file? Like Bootstrap has two versions. Vaguely speaking, not many people could relate, but Bootstrap has a minified version and a normal version. Now, what a like if you see the difference between a minified version and a normal version is that the white spaces, minified version won't have white spaces because the file gets formatted and, you know, it gets added. Like if there is any HTML, for example, HTML file, one HTML file having comment will have extra node appended to it or any extra text, right? But if another HTML file does not have any comments or let's say extra jargon files, like then it would have, you know, won't create extra node elements in the DOM. So it's actually how essentially JavaScript handles. I would say.
Because it's costing a lot of space, right? Because creating a node will cost space.
That's how JavaScript actually handles. But yeah, well, the main reason why JavaScript does that, I actually don't know. I have to search it, but that's how JavaScript does that. I hope it makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Your head is showing. I could not get you. Yash. This graph. Your head is showing leaf. It's not leaf node. Yes, it's okay. So you're saying that here, essentially, I would say because head does not have any inside tag, that's why it's head. So I'm saying that text will always be a child node. That does not mean that other HTML tags won't be leaf node. They can be essentially if there is no element inside it, but text will always be a leaf node. That's what I'm trying to say. Hope that makes sense, Yash. Spaces and new lines. As you could see, spaces and new lines that I have removed in the editor and pasted it. All this text vanished away, right? The spaces and new lines are totally valid characters like letters and digits. That's why it gets, you know, added as nodes or child nodes or leaf nodes, as you can see. Not child nodes, leaf nodes. Moving on. Let's move further. Current conflict. What are nodes in JavaScript? +1 in the chat if we should move on. Okay. Great. So, what are nodes inside DOM? Now, everything inside the DOM, including document, is actually a DOM. Now, I said you, right? Every JavaScript or like every HTML tag which you see inside an HTML file is a JavaScript object in JavaScript environment. So this, you know, actual representation of this tag can be called as a node as well. So in practice, we'll have 3 of this: the document, the entry point into the DOM, the element nodes which are present inside, HTML tags, the building blocks, the divisions, the how I'd say the link tags. These are all nodes, and the text nodes. Now, how text nodes are different, as you could see, these are all leaf nodes, right? We don't have any division inside a text. It's essentially how like the end point is a text, right? So it gets wrapped around a division, not the vice versa. So text nodes, element nodes, and document. Now, since document is an object, it has methods and properties which values we can change. We can also use JS to call the properties and methods to document to modify or access these nodes. Makes sense, hopefully. Okay, let me quickly show you this. Now, how we can select a node. We had this session. Okay, this is essentially. This node. Okay, let's do this. So, okay. Now, in my JS environment, let me declare a constant or node 1. So when we are trying to get a node from a document, we can assign it to a variable. Or let's say here a constant, I can do let or constant. I hope everyone is comfortable using let and constant where we are using. I'm not essentially modifying node 1. So, but yeah, we can use let as well. So let me create another ID. Okay, there's a quick format. I am not very happy with the shortcuts, but okay, let me create there hash ID2 and write that. Yeah, this is another div. I hope everyone is whoever was not familiar with the shortcut, what I did wrote div hash ID3 and enter. It created a division element with an ID3. This is another div ID2. This is another div with ID3. Okay. Now I want to access, element. There are multiple methods, like many methods that a document provides, but primarily, like as far as I have used JavaScript, most of the time you would like to fetch a single node particularly, and that's why this get element by ID is predominantly used, like most extensively used. So if you see this, I hope you get familiar with this use. Let node 2. What I'm trying to show you here is that I am getting the HTML element, right? HTML node, or you can see this node with ID ID2 and storing inside a variable node 1. And what I will do, I will console log both node 1 and node 2. ID3. That's how I will track. Yes, I am sure. Let me console log. And save it. I also save it. You can refresh. I hope things are clear. How we can store it inside a variable, let's say node 1, and we can do a lot of things to node 1 and node 2, which we will see. But yes, we can essentially declare it and assign it to variables and later use it inside our JavaScript. So, okay, what are the primary functions that we'll be using? Get element by tag name, get element by class name, get element by ID. I have shown you get element by ID. Let me show you get element by tag name. Okay. By tagging, integration. We should this no 3. This is not save all the files. Refresh it here. Okay. Now what you guys see, with all the console here, just everything. Now what guys you see? It's an HTML collection. Now HTML collection is like similar to array. So what get element by tag name does, it checks the document. It checks I'm writing division, right? So how like what type of division, whatever division we are having inside the document, it would give me back all those division elements. Now if I check and see, we have 4 elements inside HTML collection. One is a div, which welcome to session. It does not have any ID, so it's properly div. Second one is my ID. So first one is first element. Second element, first index. Division is division with ID, my ID. Third most element of HTML collection is division element with ID2. Similarly, ID3. So these are all the divisions that I have declared inside my HTML file, and I can access all these divisions. So tag name essentially what it does, it checks the document, checks what are the elements that are defined with the particular tag name. This division, we could have para, we could have anchor tag, anything, and it returns us an HTML collection. Even though, see, right now we are having multiple divs, right? That's why it's giving us 4 divs. Assume we have 3 divisions. Also, then it will give us an HTML collection, not a single, single. Yes, we won't get a single, like the way we are getting a node from get element by ID, which was one node. We won't get one here. It will always return an HTML collection. Let me quickly show you that. See, it will show us HTML collection, which should be a division. Because we are not sure, it might have 0, it might have multiple divisions. So there is essentially chances of getting 0 plus, right? Like 0, 1, 2, 3, any number. So that's why it returns an HTML collection. What HTML collection is, it's very similar to what an array is. It returns an iterable. HTML collection is actually an iterable. We can convert this HTML collection to array by using array.from. So if, let's say, I uncommented, I forgot to see it. See where it is. So I need to convert array.from. I'll pass a node 3, and save it. It will give me an array, okay? And this array has all this divisions which we have fetched from document elements by tag name. It essentially returns an HTML collection. Now, how to convert an HTML collection? Let me declare another variable like array dev 1 bracket console logic array this makes sense. It will return an array. Sorry. Is this HTML collection thing? Java is different enough. Yeah, if you could, on a high level, if you could visualize it, it's pretty much similar. It has different methods like key value properties, but it's an iterable, similar to an array. So if you feel comfortable in relating and visualizing it to a Java collection, yeah, it's kind of pretty much similar way. It's an iterable, which we can convert into array by using array.from. But yeah, then it will be similar in the case of document get element class. Yes. So let me quickly show you what we get by document element by class. Let me create divisions. Div dot ish plus this is a div with class name plus 1. I should get custom. I should use proper good names, I guess. But yeah. Yes, now I think of it. You can write div class dot class 2 enter. Yes. And let me use the same class in order to show you what we are getting. This is a div. Show properties. Let me save it. Nothing won't change because I haven't changed inside. Like the HTML file changes, but then let me try to get the class. The document dot get element class name. What I have written as class name is class 1. Class 1. And quickly let me comment this one. Consumer. Save it, refresh. See, we are also getting an HTML collection. Now, why an HTML collection? Like it's pretty much how JavaScript handles it. Like whenever, apart from certain cases, you can visualize it in a way where when you are getting multiple element, I would say multiple node elements, you can expect an HTML collection because see, for a particular tag, in an earlier case how I wrote it, we are getting an HTML collection because there could be many tags, right? Division tag could be many. Or let's say an anchor tag, there could be many anchor tags. And we are expecting someone please one. Yeah, thanks. So division with class name. Yes, so I was saying we are getting HTML collection from earlier, right? Get element by tag name was also returning HTML collection because we are expecting it to give all those divisions which have all those divisions, right? Because it's by tag name, we are giving division as parameter. What we meant, give me all the division present inside the document. And there are essentially not one division that will be present, right? There will be multiple divs. So it's essentially returning us an HTML collection. Similar way, a class can be applied to many elements, right? Many HTML elements. Now, that class, so when we are trying to use get element by class name, we are essentially, please go on. Yeah. So when we are essentially trying to get all those elements from an HTML file with the class name, we are expecting multiple elements, right? So it comes in an HTML connection. Since you can see, we are having class 1, class 2. Let's see that. It has all those properties which will later go on. See, the content is, this is a div with class name class 1. This is a division there's a property called as inner text HTML. Let me check. Inner HTML, yes, inner HTML, or we can say inner text. Inner text, it returns as the text inside that element, whichever it is written. It returns, inner HTML will return if, let's say, this division has another div inside it, and we wanted to see the entire HTML, it would return the inner HTML. But yeah, so inner text, as you can see, this is a div with class name 2. We are essentially returning all this 2 division, which has the same class 1 assigned to it. So what get elements by class name does, it returns an HTML collection which has class 1 assigned because we have passed class 1 as output. We covered get element by tag name, get element by class name, get element by ID, which we did. Okay. Yes, with tag names and class names, we get an array like of elements known as HTML collection. With ID, we get a DOM element. See, as you already know, when we are trying to access an HTML element from ID we generally assign it to one HTML, right? That's why we will always get, as output one node, whereas we are expecting multiple elements to have same classes. That's why we are getting HTML collection. In similar case with the get elements by tag. Okay. An HTML collection is an array-like list which we can convert using array.from, as I have already showed you, right? From array.from, when we used it, this HTML collection got converted into we can convert this HTML collection to an array-like structure and iterate it using the way we do like for loops and all, or map functions. How we convert it? By using array.from. See, something we did. Okay. I hope everything is clear up until now. Can we access exactly we can do? Let me quickly show you that. Let me comment that out. We got right. Let me show you array.0. That's how we generally address. Right. So we're getting this. Normal indexing, however it applies to arrays, will be applied when we get this array division in an array format. We can access any normal arrays. If it's make sense, Bharat? Give me a second. Select elements. Okay, now we will select elements using CSS queries. Now to select elements based on CSS queries like division, li, or div p, we use query selector. Find the first element which matches the query. It returns a single HTML element. Okay, we have 2 methods for query selection. One is called as query selected, another is called as query selector all. Now what query selector does, it returns at the first. I want to highlight here the first element which matches the query. So every time we would use query selector, it would give us a single node similar to what we get from get element by ID. It would return the first element it finds. We will demo that in a second. What query selector all does, it would return all. Okay, first of all, query selector all would return all the HTML elements which has the similar, query. For example, we have div greater than tag. So in the para is inside division, right? If we essentially had, let me quickly copy this one. Let me show you. Headline 1, headline 2, headline 2, headline 1, merchants attack people. Download. Yeah. Now I want to access this too using query selector. As you can see, both of them have similar, like this para can be accessed by division greater than para, division greater than para. So we will essentially get two if we use query selector all. But if we select query selector, it would essentially give us the first one because it returns as one single HTML element, which is the first one it would encounter. And if you see in this document, which one would be the first one? This one, right? This division with the ID one. Let me quickly demonstrate that as well so that it gets clear for us. Headline one, headline two. Select what I'm trying to say. Query selector. Div one. Div one equals to document dot query selector query selector. Let me essentially this. How did we write one? We write division, which essentially means that the para should be inside the division. Let me console log that. See, Martians attack people because this is the first one that they encounter. This documented query selector is for selecting child elements. Not really. I guess query selector means CSS queries, not child element. We can access the child element once we get this division, right? So it's once, like for example, if you want to check what children it has, we can check it on this one. It does not have any children. That's why it's returning an empty HTML collection. But once we get that division or whatever HTML element we want to access, we can access the children by using that element. We can assign it to a variable and access the dot children. This is how I have. Okay, what I'm saying. Query selector, yes. Okay, I want to see it. Yes. Now, if I want to show, let me correct console on this query selector. I would get an HTML. Okay, this won't be an HTML collection actually. This would be a node list, which is pretty similar how things are, but it's different. You'll get a node list. Yeah, we're getting node list. So yeah, that's the primary difference between the return type of query selector all and class name, get element by class name and get element by tag name. They return an HTML collection, but whereas query selector returns a node list. The primary difference between a node list and HTML collection is that I'll send you an article. We have a link to that, but mainly it's pretty much like the the properties that we can use. These are very similar how it works. Let me check if we can. I guess we can convert this to areas. So you can convert this node list into an array as well using array.com. Yes. Next one, division P. Division P means, yeah, I said the paras should be inside a division element. That's what division greater than P means. Guys, everyone understand up until now what does all of this thing, like what all of this thing does. Get element by tag name returns on an HTML collection, returns all this HTML element which is using a particular tag, like division, para, anchor tag, similar. Get element by class name is also returning as an HTML collection. The elements which have the same class which we have passed as argument to the get elements by class name will get an HTML collection. We can convert HTML collection and node list by using array.from, and get element by ID would return as the DOM node, like one DOM node only. It will not return as any HTML collection or node list. Query selector also works in similar way. It returns as the first whatever matches the query that we have passed into the query selector, it would return as that element. Hope it makes sense. Selecting elements for the mentions the system. Yeah, it's like query selector as in we have defined class, right? Okay, query selector actually works in a way, yeah, like we can pass division element, like it essentially would not have to use CSS queries, like how we essentially select any element the way we do, like division, just then a line or division paragraph which is child of a division. That's what we use using CSS query. I hope that makes sense. And select the parent is division. Okay, but we don't mention okay. Okay. Well, I removed that. Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, we'll take a 5 minutes break. Focus. We'll come back around 5:97 to continue what's coming. Up until now, everyone got what I shared with you, right? Like what is an HTML collection, what is a DOM tree, how do we visualize it, what are nodes, then how to what returns an HTML collection, what is a node list, how we can convert a node list to an array, how we can access can we access this array that we get from array from normally, like someone asked it, right? We can index it, like if we want to get to the first element or like whatever is present in the 0th index or 1 index, we can use it normally the way we already use. It's pretty much same. What returns, what are the different return types, how we can use it. I hope it's clear for everyone. Last one in the chat of it does. Yes, session is still 9:30. We'll continue with more properties. Only 2 people understand. Is the pace fine, guys? I'm feeling little. Alright, okay. I'll continue. The pace is fine. Great. Everyone understood how to deal with nodes, how to, how to access a particular node from a document. We will learn about different properties, what inner HTML does, what text content is. But yeah. Last one in the chat, guys. It would really help me get quick feedback from you. Only few people are. Great. Let's go for, okay, we'll connect at 9:10, okay? we're doing this time. Let's continue, guys. Okay. We'll wrap up in the 15 minutes. Before wrapping up, I'll introduce like what we have rest in today's session. I'll introduce about some more properties, some basic methods that are very extensively used in our HTML and text content. Then there is an activity which we will do, and I'll show you how we can create new elements in DOM and insert it. Hopefully, we'll continue like activity 3 onwards in next session. Okay, I don't want it to be too overwhelming. I hope everyone is back. Okay. Last one in the chat of okay. 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 What we will do, let me tell you about more properties, and we will do this search in a list activity, and we'll wrap up. Let's not go. Okay, we'll do that in the next session. Okay, everyone is clear. Okay, moving on. So, okay, we have like when we get a node, right? When when we have a node element handing us in JavaScript, there are two properties that mainly we use, which is in our HTML and text content. Now let me quickly show you these two methods. Okay, I've added an article like post this session. You can check out this article if you want to know the difference between a node list and HTML collection. It's very thin layer. Like most use case, you won't be knowing the difference because most of the time you won't even need to. But yeah, if you want to, you can read that article. Okay, and our HTML text content. Okay, so let me get. Okay, we are getting an HTML collection, right? Let me get HTML collection. Okay. Let me get an HTML. Okay. Because we will use it. So, okay, we can use another. Okay, as you can see, we are getting this node one, right, which has ID 2. Now I want to show you. Okay, what we can do instead of showing me, let me check if I can directly get element ID. Okay. We have a text content. Let me show you. Mostly both shows us the same, but there is a difference. There. When I declare, okay, let me get what I am getting and what I am getting in both. Can you still see the difference? So I have what I did. I wanted to show you the difference between text content and inner HTML. Okay. Now, there is a division. I'm primarily using this division. This division, I am audible. I am audible, right? Please say yes to confirm. Yes. Okay. So in this division, as you can see, we have H1 inside it and P inside it. Now, when I'm trying to access the inner HTML, I'll get the HTML, like whatever is inside along with the tag, it will be showcased. As you can see, when I am trying to access the inner HTML. But when I'm trying to access the text content, it would only show me whatever text, whatever is there, excluding the tags, I'll get the text. So like headline notes, margin, attack labels. Essentially, what it is trying, I would say, it's fetching all the leaf notes data, whereas it's accessing all the children element of that division, right? So that's why it's showing us all the text which is inside division 1, and when we are accessing the inner HTML, it's showing us inside P and H1, like all those tags are coming. This is the primary and essential difference between HTML, inner HTML and text content. That what is saying. There are two popular properties attached to nodes which we use to get the inner elements. One is inner HTML, get the HTML inside, another gets text inside. I hope it's clear. Now there is an activity for you guys. I know it's kind of pretty late, but I really want you guys to do this activity. Let me present my screen in a good way. So there is this HTML which has a unordered list having John, Mary, Donna, and Donnie. Now you need to create a search function which would take argument as element ID. So here we would pass names and the name, which is like John or say Mary. Now what that search function would do, which takes in the DOM elements ID, names, and searches the name. If the name is present inside this li, it would give us, found. It would console.found. If it is not, it would say not found. I hope everyone is understand the question. Let me repeat it once again. So you have to write this HTML. I'll paste that in the chat window. It would have an ID. This is the content of the HTML. Now in the JavaScript, you have to write a search function which would take names as argument, and the name which would be anything. Let's say Alicia. Alicia is not present inside li, so it would print not found. And if I write anything present inside li, John, Mary, Donna, Donnie, it would, if it's present, it would print found. I hope that makes sense. Yes. So let me quickly paste. Okay, I have unlocked the suggestions as well. Let me quickly paste the inside here. The chat, you don't have to write. This is how I would call. Essentially, it would be this. I guess everyone can figure out. I'll give you 5 minutes. At least if you could not write it, try to ideate how you do that, right? We are getting an HTML, like we have an UL HTML node which has names. I want you to check on all its children elements, if I would say, which, let's say I would like to get all those children, or let's say I'll get, I'll get all the children. Once I get the children elements, what is the type? Check that. If it's HTML collection or array, convert it. Once you have the array, try to traverse the array and get the text content, right? You don't want the HTML. And for every text content, check if the name that you have written matches with the. Okay, I have saved the answer, but I hope it makes sense and everyone writes it. I'll give you 5 minutes to write it out. I have actually shared how you can do it, hopefully, but I hope it makes sense to you. I need to add a time. The question is understandable, right? The hint is available. So that's once you are done, paste your code in the chat thing, okay? Whenever you're having any doubt, like if I should access the children or what I am getting, try to console log it, see what you are getting, then proceed further. It would really help you to, on later stage also when you're trying to code it out, try to check at every step you are confused that what you are getting, how to traverse it. It would help you through ideation and how to proceed further. Are you able to ideate, guys, how to get it? +1 in the chat if you are able to think through this problem. And okay, good decision. Yeah, that's so productive. It really helps me, guys. Anyone having any issues up until now? Not able to understand or felt like anything, any concept they find difficult, which I taught today? Not able to understand how to get an element from ID or visualization they are finding a little difficult, please let me know. Is anyone able to solve it? I guess it's for starters, it will take a little more time, but I hope everyone does it. I at least visualize it, how to do it, and be really happy if anyone could do it. Any doubts, anyone? Let's try it together. Now, so much pressure. Okay. Let's see how we can do.
আরে বাচ্চা দুবার ঘুমটিতে থাকে আমি না দুবার ঘুমটিতে থাকে না
So much person. Let me call it and check what's your password. Names. Value. And include. Let's try.
ভাই কোথায় আছো চলে আসছি বিকালে ওখানে গেছি না হয় ওর সঙ্গেই থাকো বয়ফ্রেন্ডের সঙ্গে ঘুরতে হবে ওর সঙ্গেই ঘুরে আসো হাতে কথা বলার কিছু নেই মাথা গরম করার কিছু নেই আমি কোনো বন্ধুর সঙ্গে যাইনি তোর সাথে ঘুরবো চুপচাপ থাকার কিছু নেই না ঘুরে আসো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের সাথে
When I wrote children, I'm getting national connection.
নাটক করবে ও বেরিয়ে খেতে যাবি রাস্তায় বসে নাটক চল কালকে কি বলবি ওগুলো কি মজা আরে মানে আগের দিনে আগের দিন অপেক্ষা
Okay, problem लगा देते हैं. Let's do for you. Let's do offline. Yes, yes. Now every element I need to check, right? So let content equals to list array dot I dot text content, right? Yeah. Content equals to name. So long. Click on else. Console log.
তো বাবার প্রবলেম দেখি কাজ করেই যাবে
Is that true?
মা তো জানে वहाँ तो जाने वहाँ जाने वहाँ जाने कितनी आवश्यक बाकी
O of n, yeah. Like this is a small list. You don't need to find about complexity as it's here. Then I feel like even 1,000 data if you don't need to worry about this complexity stuff. But yeah, everyone understand what I did? I tried to fetch the element from element ID, got the children because I'm getting the entire HTML and we have list under that URL, right? So I access the children, I console log, it was an HTML collection. I console log, it was an HTML collection. We know how to convert an HTML collection to an array, right? I just did that. I'll get the list array. List array, I just traversed it and got the content. Like I checked if the content, the text content apparently is name and found. If it's not there, not found. Everyone understand? Exactly. Since it was like just below all the list tag were there, right? So it returned an HTML collection. Make sense? +1 in the chat if you understand. +1 in the chat, please. Okay. I feel we can wrap this up. It's already we have finished the 10 minutes. From next session onwards, we will understand creating how to create new lists, etc. I have added the node list link to the Medium article of NS fields we could go through. I'm sharing this to feedback, guys. Please filter. Check on So I hope this session was helpful, guys. You understood at least something. We'll have different activities for next session. You'll find it hopefully interesting. Yeah, please let me know how did you feel. Was it helpful? Please fill in the feedback form. It would be really helpful to know what you guys think about the sessions. Then hopefully everyone understood about what I taught today. We'll continue next. And yes, few people had doubt about that Selector stack like 100% height, right? Yeah, those people can stay back. I'll solve their doubt for some time. Give me a second. Yeah, so yeah, I'll find some minutes. Thank you, guys. We'll see each other in the next session. Thank you, Desajit. Thank you, Mihir. Bye, guys. Bye. Take care. Please fill in the feedback form, guys. It would really help me and us. Thank you. Thank you, Vishwapriya. Yeah. So, okay. So whoever was asking about this 100%, right? So essentially, what happens when we write 100% for any HTML element, or they say any tag we have like CSS property as 100%, it would essentially take 100% of its parent element. So, for example, someone said that adventure card, we had like adventure card, image, and adventure. Yes, adventure.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. Just one small question to this. Actually, we are using this Bootstrap. In the Bootstrap row, we are saying that 100%. So, like, so there is a parent element for Bootstrap itself is a Bootstrap, right? So how it will take from there? Yeah, that is the thing. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So what essentially happens, when, okay, let me, so this is the interesting, right? So for example, we had, where we wrote 100%. We wrote 100% for this card, let's say. I will give you an example. Adventure card, we wrote 100%, right? So it will check on its parent element, like what is the size of that parent element, and it take 100%. If you check, we have core 6 as width as 50%. It would keep on like this percentage value, keep on referring to their parent. So ultimately, when you check the content, there was a minimum height. This container is the parent element. We have minimum width, right? So like minimum height and minimum width, it would keep on checking about the parent element, what it's taking. For example, if we take 100%, 100, or if we write width 100%, it would go 100% of the parent element. If that parent element takes 50% of the entire element, then 50%, like 100% of that 50%, and that 50% might be referring something else. So it keep on migrating over the parent element. I hope it makes sense. And ultimately, if you see width, height, actually, it's not properly visible, but width I can show you, right? So this we have maximum width as 540 pixel. For 540 pixel, we have this width, right? If we squeeze it down, it will take 50% of this whatever width we will be having depending on the responsiveness. And if we keep on squeezing it, then for different size, it would take 100%. It would not take, like, depending on if we have used SM. According to that, it will take on the percentage we have defined for that particular, class. Does it make sense? So essentially, if I would say, what 100% means, height 100% will actually take 100% of the size of the parent element, whatever it is wrapped inside. So essentially, it's not always the direct parent element. The parent actually would have been 50% of another parent element, which would traverse back to the top of the donkey, right? But I hope that questions you. Maximum width. Yeah. Height is not mentioned. Okay, that's because I guess the Bootstrap is adding some default height to it, and also we have used object fit. That's why it's printing it. But let me confirm that. Image, what we have card. The card has height. So it's taking the height of this LG. It has also some height assigned from its parent. So most of the Bootstrap things are actually, these are already given by their CSS. So we can traverse it, like check back to the parent element which we have. You can migrate it to the topmost element. Like if you see it, you can do that, but hopefully that solves your doubt what 100% means. I need to check it. I guess we are already over your time, but that would essentially answer your question. Does it make sense? Okay, I need to check for the height. Which I get your question. There's some height mentioned for content also. So it's
আমি এখানে দাঁড়িয়েছিলাম দেখাবো না তুলে এখানে খালি যা তোকে তুলে দেখাবো এখন উপরে মারছিস কেন উপরে মারতে পারছিস না আমার জমিতে উপরে মারতে পারছিস না আমার গায়ে বললে আরে আমার গায়ে ঘরে মারছিস কেন উপরে যেখানে খুশি মার না এটা তোকে বলতে হবে না
I guess it's auto adjusted to whatever that call L6 is given, but it's not there. I guess there's some property that's added. I have to check. Complete line. Wait. Not sure. We can check. Yes, we can check and expand like this. I'm checking that maybe. I guess there's some height there actually. Height about 400 feet. So there's some auto adjusted height. Default height they are adding to call LG6, which is not shown. That's why, or it's auto adjusting to the content. I'm not sure. Like, okay, let me check the value. That's not really. Okay. Yeah. I guess they have a predefined height defined for row. Maybe. Or it's kind of adjusting to the content. Not predefined, I would say. Something they are doing in that. Oh. But essentially the concept will be 100%. I'm not that directly sure. I need to check and confirm it. That's that predefined height. I'm not sure. I also feel that it should be present inside console. But I'm troubleshooting. I guess it's not about a predefined height. It's mostly the content कितना size ले रहा है. You know, if the size अगर हमको ज़्यादा डालते तो it would have expanded. Let's say. I'm still not sure. I need to check. Yeah, that's what I think. That predefined height we should be able to display regular motion. It's not good. Nothing happened. Let's circle there. There's no point now. If I write 50%, okay. It's mostly dimensions. What did I do? Okay. Yeah, I'll check and get back to you. Not sure. I feel they're having some predefined height, or it's kind of expanding to that predefined height. That's why we're seeing that. Because if I add 1000 pixels, it's expanding, right? There must be something. I'm not even. I need to check. I'll get back to you. Okay? Does that sound cool? into articles. We'll see mostly. If I find an answer, I'll try to reply in the Slack itself without dragging it to the next session. So yeah, bye guys.
Recording stopped.
বুঝলাম না ব্যাপার এখানে ভয় পাচ্ছে না ঘরের মধ্যে শুনে পাচ্ছে ভয় পাচ্ছে না এখানে রান্না করে ঢুকে গেছে আরে আছে ক্লাস চলছে আর অন করে দিলে আর রেকর্ডিং এর কোনো কথাই আসবে হবে না আমি গাড়ি বসিয়ে দেবো কি বলে তাহলে আমাদের অর্ডার কি করবো অর্ডার আলু সিদ্ধ ভাত বসিয়ে দেবো নাকি টমেটো আছে না দেখো টমেটো বসিয়ে দাও নাহলে আলু সিদ্ধ ভাত বসিয়ে বাজারে খাবো টমেটো দরকার নাকি কি বলছো কিসে পেট বলো আমি নিচে আসছি ভাত হয়ে গেছে हम्म